My name is Dr. Bertice Berry, and I'm a sociologist. I'm an author, lecturer, mother, and I'm a grandmother. Well, the way I work, which is interesting, and every day is a completely different day, and now even more different. But the way I work is I work with different companies, corporations, associations, organizations to help them solve the problems that they see. Sometimes it's in the form of a lecture, sometimes in a workshop, sometimes it's staying there with them to give them back themselves and help them see a way to a better world for them using principles, ideas, research, and information from sociology. When you're a Black woman with a Ph.D. in sociology, and at the time I was 36th to have a Ph.D. in sociology, you're going to teach, right? The thing that's a little more fascinating is not teaching. It's harder to get out of academia, to make the decision to use whatever it is you've learned outside of there. And that was difficult for my mentors and other colleagues to see me decide to not stay there. And it was a little bit of a battle, to the point where they thought I was kind of, poo-pooing or looking down on education, and I wasn't. I just didn't want to become, I wanted to reach more people. I felt that sociology had a lot to say, and it was saying it at a brown bag, or, there was always a smell of tuna fish in the room, and you weren't really using the power of what it was. So I'm what's known as a public sociologist, where we take the ideas and the information of sociology and take it to the public. What I do didn't exist before, right? So I had to create the road, and I had to build the engine and build all the things that went on it. I think it's dreaming and work. It's a combination of the two. I know people who work extremely hard, but they never dream. And I know people who are dreamers and they never work. And it's the combination of the two, where you're constantly working and dreaming to see what the possibilities are and how they can be, and then you're getting there. To create this lane is weird, and people call me different things. Oh, she's a comedian. Oh, she's a writer. Oh, she's a motivational speaker. I don't like being called a motivational speaker. I don't because, you have to see my daughter's bedroom to know that I'm not a motivational speaker. Someone framed it for me years ago. They said, what you do is inspire people with wisdom and information and heartfelt knowledge to want to change and grow. There's this drive and a desire and a need for someone who looks like me and is like me to be able to have an impact, right? So for a Black woman to have something to say, from coming from poverty to having the highest degree in the land, having clean houses and banks, to teaching folks and inspiring them, and being in a room where you're speaking after the Queen. Yeah, okay. So you find yourself in this place saying, who am I? What do I have? And how can I impact the world? I wanted to do something about racism very early on. I wanted to do something about poverty. I wanted to do something about sexism. At the same time, I wanted to be happy. Yeah, mentally overcoming the challenges comes from having this crazy mother who was tough and angry and beautiful and amazing, and she transformed. But she just, you weren't allowed to quit. I'd come in and say my back hurts, and she said, you're not old enough to have a back. I remember once coming in and saying I was trying to get on a plane, and the flight attendant said I was in the wrong seat, and she demanded to see my ticket because she didn't believe I should be in first class. And my mother saying, I know how you feel. I grew up next door to the whipping post. You okay, you win. You can't quit when somebody's got that kind of a struggle and pushing you. My mother, if she were alive, would be 101. And that whipping post that she grew up next to in Dover, Delaware, was just taken down a few weeks ago. So, from my perspective, what took you so long? From my mother's perspective, it would be finally, yes, things are changing. Every day I'm going to meet somebody who's going to influence me that way. Even locked in my house, you know, I got a call from someone the other day saying, thank you for a mask that I made for them, and, you know, that they can't go out, but, you know, when they go to the doctor's office, they'll wear that mask. And this was somebody who's in their late 80s teaching me how to be grateful for everything. People who would choose to oppress me would say about me. I can't let them define me. That makes no sense. You have to define yourself. And that works for all young women. So, you know, the other thing I tell them is that self-esteem doesn't come from the self. It comes from the people around you. It's for the self. But if the people around you are telling you you're ugly, you're useless, you'll never be anything, you come to believe that. You're not the problem. It's the room you're in, and you need to find a smarter room. I believe that your legacy is not what you leave when you die, it's what you leave when you leave the room. And so when I leave the room, I always want people to feel better about themselves. I don't even care if they know my name. I want something that I did or said to make them feel like, yeah, I'm okay. Life-work balance is not really balance, it's about harmony. And so for me, you integrate things and you allow the note of the children to be that note, and you allow the note of work to be that note. And sometimes they're the same. And you know, you integrate that and you find the music in it. I think thinking something is 50% of this and 50% of that is the wrong way to go. In fact, the research tells us that the more places you have your feet firmly planted, the happier you'll be. My life as a mother is as powerful and as informative as, you know, all those books and all those things that I read and studied and knew. I didn't understand diversity until I got 5 children who had 5 very different needs. And then I could see the power of diversity, that they all bring something beautiful and amazing. So you know, you don't get it all right, you never will. You don't get work all right, you never will. You go to sleep at night hoping you can say, I can die now. But when you open your eyes in the morning, you realize you still have work to do because you woke up. I'm still getting it right.